Good morning. I'm here to talk to you about integrating Aboriginal perspectives into the Grade 10 Communications Technology curriculum. I'm a communications technology teacher here in Dryden, Ontario, and our school has a self-identified First Nations population at around 30%. And so I have a bit of experience with this, and so I'll share with you some of the experiences that I've had and where I think I want to go with that. Now, first I'll start by explaining the Grade 10 Communications Technology curriculum. It's divided into 4 sections: Communications Technology Fundamentals, Communications Technology Skills, Society Technology and the Environment, and Professional Practices and Career Opportunities. Now, throughout this presentation, I'll try to frame my responses in terms of those 4 areas of the curriculum. Now, when I was reading the book Integrating Aboriginal Perspectives into the School Class Curriculum, I was quite taken by the section where it talked about layering at the 5 levels of classroom practice. Now, the first level of that is student learning outcomes. Now, one way that I try to incorporate Aboriginal perspectives in the student learning outcomes is to make sure that they are specific to the students that are coming into my classroom. For example, in terms of communications technology fundamentals, and when we look about the impact of communications technology on society, we could look at how communications technologies have impacted Aboriginal society, not only in urban Aboriginal populations, but in the far north as well. Topics that would be relevant to that would be a study on the Aboriginal People's Television Network and how it has come to be and how its content is generated. Also, what could be relevant is the role of radio in the far north in connecting communities in Nunavut. Also, for professional practices and career opportunities, we could look at First Nations individuals that have had successful careers in the communications technology, and also, for example, First Nations individuals who have gone on to own radio stations, for example, and produce TV shows and become just very relevant and leaders in the communications technology field. Now, the second level of classroom practice is instructional methods and strategies. This is one that I've had a lot to learn about in terms of dealing with the Aboriginal student body. For example, when instructing a student, so a communications technology classroom is set up in a way such that usually instruction can occur for, let's say, 15 to 20 minutes at the beginning of a class, and then students are working independently either with cameras or on a computer or in a video recording studio, or an audio recording studio for that matter. Now, what I've learned as a instructor or teacher of Aboriginal students is that they are absorbing everything that you are instructing, quite often with a higher level of engagement than other students. One anecdote that I can talk about is I have a computer lab within my classroom, and when I'm going and I'm instructing students, if I'm talking to them, I have found myself repeating myself, because if they are making eye contact with me, I'll repeat myself, and they said, I heard you the first time. So I've had to learn that as far as instructional strategies, they are very, Aboriginal students are very perceptive, and their listening skills shouldn't be questioned necessarily. If they are proving themselves on a day-to-day basis as far as their learning, their listening skills really just shouldn't be questioned in that terms. In terms of other instructional strategies, I do try to incorporate any relevant examples of Aboriginal work in communications technology when I am giving an example. If I'm talking about photography, for example, I will search up Aboriginal photographers and show their work and describe what contributions they make to society. Now, in terms of curriculum content and learning resources, I like to incorporate, there are a couple ways that I already do, but as I'm taking this course, I would like to incorporate more aspects of Aboriginal culture in my curriculum. One of them is the 7 grandfather teachings. Quite often one of my first photography and photo editing assignments is for students to make a poster where they take 7 different photos that describe the 7 grandfather teachings and edit that poster, basically design that poster in a way such that it's visually appealing, but it conveys that message of the 7 grandfather teachings. Another aspect of integrating it into the curriculum would be, for example, having students make quite often an assignment would be a video assignment that can be of their own, whatever content they wish. One neat video assignment that I could assign that I haven't thought of before would be a creation story, for example. Or, for example, describing First Nations ceremonies. We do have a powwow at our school in the middle of May every year, and there should be more video taken of that. Now I'll finish off by talking about assessment of student learning and the philosophical underpinnings of the curriculum. When it comes to assessment of student learning, when incorporating First Nation perspectives into the curriculum, quite often you have to make sure that you have that message as an assessment point. The fact that they have really focused on incorporating First Nations culture into their assignment and really taking that into account, as sometimes it will be a challenge, and the communications technology aspect of the assignment may have had to be, for example, modified to enable to incorporate First Nations content into it. And so you have to take that into account as a communications technology teacher, and that's just being your professionalism will come into play, and you will realize that that's a necessary thing. And last off, the philosophical underpinnings of incorporating First Nations culture into the communications technology curriculum. I think you have to realize the classroom as a whole. For example, when you greet the class at the beginning of the year, you have to establish that everyone is connected, everyone has respect for each other, regardless of their background, and everyone is going to work together on these different assignments, whether there is a focus on First Nations curriculum or not, or First Nations content or not. And of course, that being said, as a communications technology teacher, there's so much flexibility in that curriculum that I could, every assignment really should have an option for being very much First Nations focused. I have taught, like I said, I've taught a number of First Nation students from Eagle Lake Reserve and Wabigoon Lake Reserve, and they are strong communications technology students. It has to do with the artistic focus of video editing and photography and videography, and the work that they have produced is carries about it an original aspect that I don't see with some other students. So that being said, I think that I see the First Nation students in my classroom as being an incredible resource that I need to foster and that I need to really encourage to do their best. And that can only be done in a whole class setting where everyone is encouraged to do their best, because First Nation students do not necessarily want to be singled out in that regard, especially in a situation where only 30% are self-identified. So I hope that through this discussion of incorporating First Nations curriculum into secondary school, First Nations content in secondary school curriculum, it's only just a start of what I'm going to be doing this year in the communications technology classroom. And I will definitely follow up on that. Thank you for listening.